There has been a huge surge in new construction here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and right now there are some really great opportunities to buy new construction. And many people are drawn to the idea of having a brand new home, including myself. In some areas, you can find a brand new build for the same price as a resale home, which to some people is an absolute no-brainer. So what do you need to know before buying a new construction home? Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, and I am a local real estate agent right here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, helping people just like you. You can't drive 5 miles down the road here without running into a new construction neighborhood. So it only makes sense that I have been getting a ton of questions about how the new construction process works. So the first thing that you need to know is that you still need your own agent to buy a new construction home. Now, technically, it's not required to have one, but you have to know that that builder's agent is going to do everything in their power to protect the builder, not you. They represent the builder. If you're using the builder's agent, you technically do not have representation on your side as a buyer with someone that is a fiduciary, meaning that they have to represent your best financial interest. The agent, they represent the builder's best financial interest. You need someone who is on your side to negotiate and help if anything goes wrong. It is absolutely free for you to use your own agent. So why wouldn't you want that extra peace of mind that you have someone in your corner fighting for you, especially if it's not going to cost you anything? Now, sometimes I get the question, and I get it, it might make sense that if you're not using an agent, that the builder is going to give you an additional incentive, or maybe you might have some more negotiation room. And that is simply not the case. The builder's simply just going to pocket that extra money and keep going on. Before you reach out to a new construction neighborhood, you should reach out to your agent. And hopefully in this scenario, that agent is going to be me. I want to be your agent. And the agent or myself, we will reach out to the builder on your behalf. With many new construction builders, if you reach out to them directly and don't tell them that you have an agent on the very first phone call, they will not let you add one on the contract. Many builders are very strict about this, and this is why it's so important to get in contact with your own agent first. You might forfeit that right to have someone represent you, which is a really big letdown, because if the builder has their own agent who is working for their best interest, don't you want the same for yourself? I could give you a list of examples of buyers who have purchased new construction homes, and if they didn't have an agent fighting for them, they would have been stuck in scenarios that could have been negotiated to work better in their favor. Many times buyers will end up settling because they didn't know that they can push back on the builder, or they didn't know that what the builder was trying to do was not normal. Now, the next thing you need to know about buying new construction is that, well, all builders are a little bit different. And not only are the builders different, but all the various different communities are different as well. For example, in some communities, you can go out to the sales center, you can find a lot that you like in the neighborhood, you can look at the different floor plans that they have available and pick which one you want to put on that lot. Then you could choose any upgrades that you want, any type of features that you want to add to the house, like the color of the cabinet, if you want to get rid of the bathtub and have a massive shower in the bathroom instead, or maybe just upgrade the kitchen package with an extended island or a separate cooktop and an oven instead of all in one range. Now, other communities may not let you change a single thing about the house. For example, there is a very popular community in Brazelton called Twin Lakes. They have a few different builders that build in this community, and they all have different practices. We have a client who's building a home with D.R. Horton, and they operate based on a set community plan that has already been decided and cannot be changed. So they are building in one chunk of the neighborhood and everything has already been decided, meaning each lot has a decided floor plan that will go on it, has a predetermined exterior and interior paint color, the kitchen cabinet color has already been selected, and so on. You cannot change any of this because the builder has already pre-made all of these selections. They've ordered the specifics for each home, and they are not deviating from that. That means that you can't say, hey, for $5,000, can you change the cabinet color? They have made all of these selections in order to better track the exact cost of their home, which is nice for a buyer because you know exactly what you're getting whenever you go under contract, what your final pricing will be, and you don't have to worry about any additional upcharges that you're going to need to spend in order to customize things and then in turn increase your budget. All of these choices have already been made for you, and that is that. It does unfortunately mean that you won't necessarily get everything you want. For example, the floor plan you want might not be available on the lot that you want, or they may not have the color of the cabinets you want or the exterior look you want, which can be a drawback. This is what you'll often hear referred to as a spec house, meaning homes that have all the choices have already been made and nothing can change. Sometimes in communities, builders will release a few homes that have all of the options that they've already been selected for, also known as a spec house, to give buyers a few options of homes that they can close very quickly since all of these things have already been picked out and ordered already. Then they'll also allow you to build a floor plan of your choosing from their selection and pick design options if you are okay with waiting longer for the house to be built. It all just depends on the builder and their plans for that specific community. Another big thing to know about buying a new construction home is that you won't exactly know what your monthly payment will be until you are closer to the end of the home being built. So if you're working with a builder who lets you pick out your lot and floor plan and make all those design choices, this is typically a pretty long process, anywhere from 6 months to a year, depending upon how custom the home is and how busy the builder is. If you are getting a loan, you cannot lock in your interest rate until about 60 days prior to closing. So interest rates might be really good at the time you are searching for a home, but if it's going to take 9 months to build the house, then you have to wait until that 60-day period before closing to get your rate locked in. So you won't know until then what your interest rate is going to be, which is obviously going to have a direct impact on your monthly payment. You have to be a bit more flexible in this scenario and know that this is an unknown until you are closer to closing. Another big thing when it comes to lending is that just because the builder's preferred lender is offering incentives doesn't necessarily always mean that it's better to use them for your mortgage. I work with absolutely incredible local lenders who they truly want the best for you. So even if you're looking to purchase a new construction home and think that the builder's lender is offering some crazy incentive that just can't be beat, I'm still always going to recommend that you talk with a local lender so that they can compare what the builder's lender has given you, and they're going to look at things and compare it apples to apples. Once again, and it's going to vary based upon the builder, but for example, if you are looking in a D.R. Horton community, their in-house lender is DHI, which is owned by D.R. Horton. So of course, they are going to want you to use them so that they can keep all that business and all the profits to themselves. But you may find that $5,000 that they're offering you is just charged back to you in other ways on the loan and fees and upfront charges. Sometimes if you're working with a smaller builder, they may want you to use someone local as their preferred lender, and they are more likely to actually credit you with whatever incentives they are offering. That's why, regardless of what you decide, I want you to be in touch with people who, like I mentioned, truly want what's best for you and to take a look at whatever you're offered. Again, they're going to compare that apples to apples, and they're going to say, hey, this is where the builder is kind of charging you a little bit more. Here's where my fees differ. Or, you know what? This is a really great deal from the lender. You should definitely take it. I can't beat that. Again, sometimes they will notice that there's fees being charged to you in other places. And just like I said, sometimes they're going to say, hey, really great deal, run with it. I've had that happen with many of my clients before, and that's always such a good feeling to know that you are absolutely possible for you. Now, one other big thing to know about buying a new construction home is that most of them are going to have an HOA. Now, I know that HOAs are something that people are very passionate about, either one way or the other, but you need to know that most of these neighborhoods are going to have one. If you'd like a further explanation about how HOAs work here in Georgia and a little more information on these, make sure that you check out this video. If you are looking at a builder like D.R. Horton, for example, they are for sure going to have an HOA in that community. But most likely that will come with community features like a neighborhood pool, tennis courts, playgrounds. They're starting to put in pickleball courts, all those kind of things. If you are looking for a new construction home in a 55+ community, I can almost guarantee you that you will have an HOA, because the attraction of these style of neighborhoods is all of the amazing amenities, as well as the fact that they will take care of your lawn maintenance. Again, if you've never lived in Georgia before and aren't familiar with how they work, make sure you check out this video. HOAs here are usually going to cost between $500 to $1,000 a year, unless you are in a 55+ community where it's going to be a lot higher. Or if you are considering a new construction townhouse, those HOA fees can usually be on on the higher side, like closer to $1,000 a year or more, because they take care of all of your lawn maintenance as well, and generally some exterior maintenance as well. Townhouses are not something that we've talked about a ton on this channel, but if you're interested in learning more, let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear what you think. All right, the fifth and final thing you need to know about buying a new construction home is that, well, you're going to have to be flexible. We've already talked about how in some scenarios you won't know for several months what your exact payment will be, and how sometimes you're going to have to compromise on design features if you want to move quickly and get into a community. One of the biggest things to keep in mind with new construction is that you need to be pretty flexible when it comes to timelines and closing dates. It is pretty rare for a new construction house to close on the exact same day that's written into the contract. And oftentimes they won't even give you a specific date, but rather kind of like a general time frame. There are so many moving pieces in new construction process that can have major impacts when the home is actually going to be complete. Like how long it takes the builder to get permits, it's too rainy, they get delayed with pouring concrete, and of course, we all experience those delays in supplies during COVID. Again, this greatly differs depending upon if you are buying a spec home or going a more custom route. Typically with spec homes, the builder has already pulled the permit and they already have those in place, which is why they have an exact plan of what they're going to be closing. So the process is usually much quicker, which is why a lot of people opt for spec houses. If you are buying a new construction home from a custom builder, then you're going to have to factor in a month or two for getting those permits approved by the county. The weather has a huge impact, obviously, on building. So if we're in a really rainy season, like this past winter, this can really delay things. The most foolproof timeline typically happens for spec home, but even then, sometimes there are delays. So if you're planning on buying new construction, you just have to learn that not everything is going to go perfectly smoothly. So what do you think? Are you considering buying a new construction home? If Georgia is the state for you, I would love to be the agent helping you find your perfect new construction home. You can find my contact information below this video, and make sure you check out this video to learn more about buying new construction homes right here in Georgia.